Hello, hello, Otafest podcast listeners. I'm Angelo, and with me today I have Nancy.
It's me, I'm back.
Jay could not be with us today due to the scourge that is
Capitalism.
gainful employment.
Yes, that too.
I
Capital
was being
C.
kind.
Capital C-ism.
I mean, there's the whole vendors hall at Otafest. I don't think we have a leg to stand on here.
No, we don't. But Vendors Hall, we do believe in, fair compensation.
True.
Right.
True.
We believe in being able to spend our hard-earned dollars on other people's hard-created dollars.
On very well-made art.
Indeed. And or merch.
Exquisitely sculpted waifu statues.
Look, I spent way too much money last Otafest. This coming Otafest, my wallet is, cringing in advance.
Well, if you spent too much money last year, that just means you have to save up more this year to have a larger budget.
No, it's true.
You had the entire year to prepare for this. I don't know why you're complaining.
It's true. We are given a heads up via the Otafest news network that we have access to. It's like, hey, this is the date for next year. You should know to have enough put away to spend by this time next year. And we all know, in fact, by the end of the current year's Otafest, we know when next year will be. I have no excuse.
Now, having that said, there's going to be some Otafest first-timers. There's every single time. There's people where Otafest is their first anime con ever.
I love those folks. They're so adorable. I'm so happy just giving random directions to people when they look lost.
Oh,
it's
yeah.
Hey, yeah, there are seating areas upstairs. Absolutely. Go upstairs, get a little something, get some water, go sit down. You'll be next to a massage spot. You'll be right next to autographs. It'll be nice. Go sit and chill. You look like you need to sit for 5 minutes.
Exactly. No, that Otafest Light 2009 was my first anime convention.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Wow, we're reaching far back in the Wayback Machine.
Oh, yeah. Which is really crazy because I had YumaCon right across the river when I was in college. There was of course, Anime North happening in Toronto. Mm-hmm. But I needed a passport for YumaCon, and, well, Toronto was 4 hours away, so...
Yeah.
By the time I moved to Calgary, well, Otafest was right there.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly.
Yeah,
exactly.
Right there. And I guess if it was 2009, if it was light, that would have been... Was that at the university or was that downtown?
It was at the university.
Oh, okay.
No, we were still in the university. I think until 2013, I want to say, maybe 2014. Because after that, I attended 3, I think, Otafests that were still in the university.
I feel like we graduated from Mom's basement when we turned 18. So 2018, 2019, no. That can't be right.
No,
2017?
No. Maybe. My God, we should fact check these before we record them.
Oh man.
I didn't even know we were going to be talking about that.
I just have a shoddy memory. I mean, anybody here is free to correct me if my memory is not great.
We'll find out. Find out.
I'm
we will
pretty
use
sure.
Only the finest of scientific instruments to find out.
Google.
Well, I suppose that would work.
Google would be fine.
But I don't know. I feel like just when you want to know something, buying scientific instruments just off of whatever sketchy website you can find is a great idea.
I especially like sketchy scientific instruments that are based off light.
Yeah. I recently bought myself an alcohol refractometer.
Indeed, based off light.
Yeah. And so an alcohol refractometer, for the people who may not just have been born with the information of what that is, it is a tube that you put up to your eye, and there is a prism. There is a prism that you dab liquids of various consistencies onto. And then you shine it up to the light, and it gives you a nice line to tell you how high the ABV is.
And for those who don't love acronyms, that's absolutely...
Alcohol by volume.
Yes. I was going to make a cup side joke and you cut me off. ABV sometimes means absolute value.
Oh, no. No, that's ABS, isn't it?
Yes. But
Isn't that math.abs?
Alcohol by volume.
Which nerd out there is thinking of absolute value when they could be thinking of alcohol by volume? Every programmer I know is alcoholic.
I can't say anything about that, I guess.
Something about dealing with computers drives people to drink.
Look, have you noticed what has happened this year?
Maybe I'll open up a bottle after we get this after we vent a little bit on podcast.
All right, so a recap from a couple episodes ago.
So I've been making mead.
Angelo is making mead for a friend.
Now, I know based on my recipe that that my mead recipe should be coming out to around 15% ABV, and this is something that I like to know. I wanted to take an initial measurement. In fact, on my previous batches, I did take an initial measurement, but something weird happened before I was able to start making this batch, in which my little gravity meter, this little glass bulb with a stick that you drop into your mead, to tell you how much dissolved sugars there are, to tell you how much potential alcohol there's going to be. Well, somehow the box fell over and it broke.
Oh.
So I was never able to take an initial measurement. And without that initial measurement, you can't really get a final measurement to compare against.
Yeah, it's supposed to be a difference.
Exactly. Like, imagine if you're driving a car and you knew what time you left home and what time you arrived at Disney World, so you could see what your average speed was over the thing. Well, without that first time, it doesn't matter when you arrived at Disney World. You don't know. So, missing that first measurement, I didn't think that I'd ever be able to know what the ABV was. But I was watching a brewing video. I think it was actually a distilling video, and I'm never going to get into distilling. But there's this one YouTube channel of a guy from New Zealand who does his own distilling of various things, and it's wonderful and hilarious.
Okay.
Anyway, he used an alcohol refractometer, and I was thinking, oh, that would be a fantastic tool. I want one of those. I think that would be absolutely so much fun to have. So I could drop my alcohol onto the refractometer, and I would be able to see exactly how much booze is in the booze that I make. So, it came in yesterday. I came in yesterday, and I happened to have some distilled water, so I was able to calibrate it. By a factory, it was only off by about 0.1%.
Ooh.
So it was already very accurate. And I also happened to have some 40 ABV whiskey on the counter that I was able to compare against. I was able to just grab some whiskey, put it on the dabber, and look through the unit, and it said 38%. So I don't know if that's a margin of error for the whiskey, or if they're just being stingy by 2%.
Yikes. How dare you, whiskey?
That is close enough for me to say that, yes, this device is working. I take a few drops. I take a few drops of the mead because I had time yesterday. I was doing the final back sweetening and seasoning. So before I sweetened it, I took some of the mead and put it on the refractometer. And it read 25% ABV.
Eden is very alcoholic.
It was supposed to be 15. And my flabbers are properly gasted, I'll tell you what.
Okay. So
Yes.
So what are we looking at here? Are you saying that it's a highly alcoholic mead that you've accidentally created, or are we just reading this thing wrong?
So that's what I was thinking. So, well, one of these two things has to be true. Either this is 25% ABV, or I'm doing something wrong. And so I immediately defaulted to, no, I'm the problem. I'm the problem, it's me. That is just always my default starting point. So I made sure to read the instructions. I checked, and they were saying, well, hey, your alcohol needs to be at 20 degrees Celsius when you test. And I'm like, well, it's room temperature right now. I look at my thermometer, and it's like 24 degrees in the house.
Yeesh. You guys keep it nice and warm. Oh.
We're at the top of the unit. And I think my little temperature thing, it's just a little Arduino with a little temperature sensor.
Oh my gosh.
And I think it's a little bit inaccurate. But point remains, it seems like it was a few degrees too warm. So I do the obvious thing. I put some cold tap water in a bowl. I put some of the mead in a shot glass. And with that, I can start cooling it down without diluting it. I use a meat thermometer to get the temperature of the mead, and I wait until it's 20 degrees exactly.
But
reading didn't change.
Oh, the reading didn't change. Okay, this is what I was thinking. I was like, but if you leave it out, alcohol evaporates pretty quickly.
Oh, it took like 5 minutes, not even.
Okay, maybe it's okay. I don't know. I don't know what evaporation would do to a reading. Probably not much. But okay, so the reading didn't change.
The reading didn't change, and I was scratching my head. I'm thinking, did I actually make 25% ABV a booze here? That is pretty close to like liqueur territory. And I look up my yeast just to make sure, just to see what other people have said about this. Mm-hmm. And online, my yeast, it is Lavalin S11E12. That is the strain of yeast that I have.
Mm-hmm.
It is a champagne yeast that is tolerant up to 18 or 19%. This means it can make about 20 to 21% ABV maximum. And then all the yeast just dies. It just sterilizes itself effectively.
I mean, that's good, because now you have a very good margin of error, which is very, very slim.
So I'm looking at that and I'm thinking, well, my whiskey was measuring low by 2%. My mead is measuring high by up to 4%. I don't know what this means. And so I slept on it.
Mm-hmm.
I slept on it. And then earlier today, I was like, well, the mead that I got, it was basically what I filtered out of the bentonite clay that was in there as a clarifier.
Mm-hmm.
I was just grabbing whatever was left just for the hell of it. And I was thinking, well, maybe the bentonite clay somehow attached to alcohol, and maybe that had a higher ABV just by the nature of that. So I went back to the meat that I sweetened and spiced. I put half of a whole vanilla bean in there.
Ooh,
very nice. I put some nutmeg. I put some cinnamon sticks and some cloves. It should turn out exceptionally tasty.
I can imagine an extremely tasty liqueur that I'm sure Eden will love.
Exactly. And so I take a few drops. I take a few drops of that, and I throw it on my refractometer. And what do you think? What kind of measurement do you think I got?
I feel like I still want to say 25% just
what
because.
What premonitions of the prism do you think I received?
25 again.
Higher.
Higher?
Higher.
29.
Higher.
What? Even higher? That can't be right.
No, that can't be right. I got 50%. I'm scratching my head here. How does the reading go from 25% the day before to 50%? All I did was add some seasonings and sugars and... What if all these seasonings and sugars are things that change the refractometer's reading? So I did some Googling.
Probably, yeah.
Refractometers absolutely are affected by sugars.
Yeah, because anything that's dissolved into the liquid is going to either block or distort the light going through it.
Exactly. Exactly.
Well, I guess we're just never going to know, because at this point, you can't take it out.
All I can say then is that whatever I was left with yesterday was 50%, was 25% alcohol and sugar content combined. And based on what my recipe was, it probably is actually about 15%.
I don't know. And I guess we'll never know, because I don't think humans can accurately determine how strong an alcohol is just by drinking it.
We absolutely can't. I have made that mistake multiple times.
I know you have. I was there.
Once I bought a beer, and I was like, haha, this beer is fun. It has coconuts on cartoon coconuts on the can, and it looks fun and cartoony and cute. And then I take a sip of it, and I'm like, oh no. That is strong, but it's not that strong. And then I look at the can, and it says 11%, and I was like,
that is very strong.
This is 2 beers in one.
Yes.
But anyway.
So what you're saying is that your most recent batch of mead could be somewhere between mead, liqueur, but it will taste good regardless.
Oh, it's going to taste fantastic.
Huh.
It's going to be so tasty.
I somehow get a kick out of thinking that you've just accidentally gotten into liqueur territory.
Me too. Me too. There is a really, really easy way. A really, really easy way to get there. But I don't think it's something that I want to do. I would have to be perfectly honest, I would have to look up the local laws on it. I know just immediately that you are not allowed to distill at home in Canada. You cannot moonshine in Canada.
As you probably shouldn't.
Exactly. Apparently, sugar-based alcohols like meads don't produce methanol as much as the way that fruit-based alcohols do.
That's interesting.
So, if I freeze the mead, a lot of the waters will freeze. The alcohol will drop out of solution. And this is something that is a very quick distillation method, a very easy homebrew distillation method that can get you up to about 35% or so, to my understanding.
Well, it is minus 18 outside.
It is. It's chilly out. So this is something that I could try.
But we're not gonna.
But I really don't feel like it.
No. Also, it's gonna taste perfectly good the way it is. It doesn't need to be stronger.
Exactly.
So, yeah. I'm not terribly interested in making it stronger, because I bet it'll probably taste amazing.
I feel like if I made it stronger, then I would need to use it as like a base and then have a mixer, and then it would just be like, well, what am I doing here? I can just go to the store and get rum or whiskey or whatever the hell I want. When I'm making the meads and the wines and the things that I want to make, I want to enjoy the whole thing.
Mm-hmm.
More than anything, I want to enjoy it without freezing off half of it and then throwing it away.
Yeah, that seems wrong.
Yeah. Exactly.
Well, I bet Eden's gonna love it.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. It's going to be so good. It is going to be delicious.
Peaches. Peaches and spices and vanilla. That is going to be good.
Yeah.
It's exciting.
But that's where the good things end.
Yeah?
That's where the good things end.
Oh, dear.
I don't know if you've looked at RAM prices lately.
Yeah, they're crazy bad.
Since August, the price for RAM has gone up over 170%.
It's been really bad.
I was talking on the previous podcast or two about how Dio wanted to build a new PC. They had, at this point, a very old first generation Ryzen, a Ryzen 1700X, which for its time was a fantastic CPU. Quite frankly, it was still performing admirably. The only problem is that Microsoft, in their infinite wisdom, decided that they would not support that processor generation. There's nothing wrong with it. There's no reason why it can't run Windows 11. They just decided they don't want to support it.
This was a really big part of the controversy when they were really pushing for upgrades to Windows 11.
It was. How much e-waste it would create.
And we knew that would be a problem because a lot of us had chips that were just automatically not supported.
My laptop isn't supported, just straight up. So I installed Linux on it.
Yeah.
The Linux desktop share on Steam, on the Steam hardware survey, has been continually going up.
Oh, no. But also, oh, yes.
It is very surprising.
That's a good thing, though. I think when people are not given any sort of recourse, they're going to find the next best thing.
They're going to find a way.
Yeah.
Now, Dio needed a new PC. There were various reasons why their PC just wasn't keeping up anymore, and something new had to be done. And the options were either bite the bullet and pay $500 for 32 gigabytes of RAM.
Yikes.
That's insane.
That is insane.
Or look on the used market. Now, there was a little bit of serendipity. There was a little bit of excellent timing. And Jay just happened to be selling his old workstation at the same time.
Isn't even that old. Like, people who've been listening to the Otafest podcast know exactly which rig we're talking about.
It's better than mine.
I know. It's still newer than most of the computers in my house, so...
Yeah. So Dio was able to buy that off of Jay for a very reasonable sum. We took the motherboard, the CPU, the power supply out of it, put it into Dio's old case, routed everything, got it all up and running. And that is very nice. That is really good.
I'm glad.
Good Lord. Microsoft didn't make things easy.
No.
Now that Windows 11 or Windows 10 is already out of support, even though we just popped the hard drive over, but I should say the SSD over it, and booted it up. It booted up no problem. In the Windows Update form, it would not offer the Windows 11 update. So we had to go to the Microsoft store, not the Microsoft store, Microsoft website, download the update tool, then install it, and then everything could work. Oh my God. All this just so Dio can enjoy some goddamn security updates. In an otherwise inferior operating system.
Now, Dio mentioned offhand the other day that they booted up Clair Obscur just to see the difference it would make. And apparently the results were incredible. It does make a very, very big difference.
A difference of night and day.
Yeah.
Like, to be perfectly clear, Dio went from a Ryzen 1700X, which was an 8-core, 16-thread version of the first generation Ryzen processor. And that was very good for its time. But per core on the processor, it wasn't as fast as the Intel offerings of that day. It just had more cores, so the overall performance was better. Their new processor, the Ryzen 9 5950X, is a 16-core, 32-thread processor. So immediately, that is double the cores. Just straight away. You can do twice as many individual operations at a time. But not just that. The generational differences from the first generation Ryzen to the Ryzen 5000 series, the architecture was called Ryzen 3. It was basically a 50% per core, per clock improvement rating.
Nice.
So overall, Dio's overall CPU performance is probably close to 3 to 3.5 times what it was.
Amazing. They deserve it.
Faster just by a matter of gigahertz. It is faster per core. It has double the cores. It is insane. It is a massive performance improvement.
Love it. We love performance improvements.
Yeah. And I just want to say two other things. There is one thing that happens every time you build a PC. It doesn't matter how careful you are. It doesn't matter how nice of a case you buy. At some point in time, there is a blood sacrifice involved.
What happened this time?
I sliced my finger open.
On what?
I don't know.
You don't even know?
I was trying to feed in the CPU power cables from behind the case to the front of the motherboard. And I pull back my finger, and I'm like, why is my finger covered in blood suddenly? What happened here?
Did you bleed all over
What did I cut myself on?
Did you bleed all over the components?
No, I didn't even see any blood on the computer. I just pulled my finger out, and it was like the computer just bit me. Where did it go?
But like, okay, so two things. When you get a wound and it starts welling up with blood and bleeding that fast, usually that means it's reasonably deep, especially your fingers, because, a lot of blood goes to your fingers. But the other thing is that you didn't even feel it, so it had to have been something relatively sharp.
It must have been an edge of the case. It wasn't that deep. It was like right near my fingernail.
Oh.
And I don't know. I just put a Band-Aid on, put some polysporin on, and that was it. But you know what? Thanks to that blood sacrifice, the computer booted up first time.
I made a minor blood sacrifice this week, but probably nothing quite as bad as what you did.
Oh my.
Completely irrelevant to building a PC, but kind of relevant to technology. So this past week was all of the above: Black Friday, Cyber Monday, Giving Tuesday. And on Monday, so Black Friday came and went. On Monday, on the very morning of Cyber Monday at 5:30 or 5:45 in the morning, I have a separate tap in my kitchen, and that's usually the sink around which I make pour-over coffee.
All right.
And I went and reached under the tap to go reach, coffee stuff, just like equipment, on the other side of the sink from where I was standing. And when I pulled my hand back after fetching the thing I was getting, the back of my hand dragged under the bottom of the tap. Now, we have really hard water in Calgary.
Oh, no.
And it bit me, and it hurt when it bit me because it's just jaggedy calcium deposits. So I'm swearing up a storm, and I bend down and I look to go see just how bad it is. This thing has teeth, like actual teeth.
Jesus.
Like just like sharp, jagged shark teeth. And I have just dragged the back of my hand over it. So it took...
You cut off your hand with a Calgary mahuadl.
It took 2 days for the back of my hand to stop hurting anytime anything touched it or anytime it got wet. And you're like, I was in the office because we were responsible for a whole lot of production infrastructure throughout the madness that was this past weekend. And so I was washing my hands a lot, and just the back of my hand was very, very unhappy. It has finally calmed down and actually scabbed over, but it took a couple days. But because of it, everything was great. Nothing went down. There were very minor things that happened, and they were addressable before anything actually blew up. Nothing was on fire. Everything was just really calm. Like, I actually went home at 4:30 on Tuesday, which was amazing. That never happens. There have been years where people have stayed at the office like anywhere between 6 to 10 p.m.
All right.
But we went home at like 4:15.
Fair enough. Now, one thing, I'm actually not familiar. I've never heard the term Giving Tuesday before.
So Black Friday and Cyber Monday is maximum capitalism, going back to what we were joking about earlier in the episode. And that is where we spend money on ourselves. We spend money on buying gifts for people we love. But on Tuesday, we give back to nonprofits. So a lot of places like the public libraries, STARS, the Children's Hospital, the Red Cross, a lot of them, if you donate on Giving Tuesday, they have a number of really wonderful supporters who will match your donation up to 3 or 4 times.
Oh, I've never heard of this before. That's actually huge, though.
So Giving Tuesday is a fantastic time to donate to a cause that matters to you, because there's usually a lot of matching that happens, because that's what it is, right? It's supposed to be this small way that we can make up for all of the rampant capitalism and all of the, and it's the holiday spirit. Like, it's good to be charitable. Is. So that's Giving Tuesday, and that was just this past Tuesday. And I work in a nonprofit sector, so it's extraordinarily stressful for us because we are literally facilitating millions and millions and millions of dollars of donations and matching and campaigns and all sorts of things. And like, everything just went so smooth this year. And it's all because I gave it the blood sacrifice it needed.
Hell yeah. We love to hear it.
Giving Tuesday. If you didn't know, now you do. And hopefully next year you're a participant.
Yeah. No, that sounds wonderful. Oh, I'd never considered how the calcium buildup on a tap can become a sharp cutting implement.
A liability to your personal safety.
Like, it's sharp heckin' rocks. Like, goddamn, just coming out of your tap. You never suspect it.
It's just like teeth. Like, it's so okay, I'm gonna say something, and you may or may not have ever observed this, but if you've ever had a plastic container and you held some kind of powdered thing within it, like flour or powdered sugar or like anything that's really like fine dry powder, and you use the spout to pour things out. If you've ever done this, so I do this with flour all the time because I make sourdough every week. If I tip over my big flour container and I'm pouring flour out until I reach the right grammage, and then I stop, there's always a little bit of static charge on the edge of the jar, and you see like kind of like when you play with magnets and you're playing with like ferrous powder, so like iron powder, and it makes these really jaggedy edges. That's basically what it does, but that's what it looked like when I looked at my tap. Like, it was just really jagged, tiny, sharp teeth.
Oh no.
So I got bit real good.
Absolutely. Oh God. Did you take like a chisel or something to your goddamn tap after?
Okay,
or did you just soak a piece of paper towel in vinegar and jam it up in there?
So if you've ever just had like little yogurt cups around, because like, you eat yogurt or something, you just put like a little bit of like 50-50 vinegar and water, just like a little bit in the bottom, and then you just take a rubber band and you just tie it to the tap.
Oh, that's a good idea.
Because then it stays wet for longer, and then it has time to actually dissolve all the calcium. And then afterwards, it's fine. The nice thing about this is that if you only have about 1 centimeter worth of liquid in the bottom, it actually encompasses the entire faucet assembly. Yeah. And it actually gets way more of it than just like spraying descaler at it.
Absolutely. No, I was wondering because it's legitimately a hard area to clean.
Mm-hmm.
But no, using like a yogurt cup or something, that's absolutely a good idea.
Yeah, I love it.
Yeah.
I love it. But yeah, I've been going to town on cleaning things this weekend just because I noticed how much hard water buildup had been on the one tap. Like, you can imagine what all the other taps probably look like. So
real.
Yeah, I probably need to go do that.
If we circle back to the RAM cost issue, there were multiple developments over this week alone that makes it worse and worse and worse.
Mm-hmm.
I think the first thing that happened was that NVIDIA, a wonderful provider of gaming graphics everywhere, decided that they were no longer supplying RAM to, like, video RAM, VRAM, to their board partners, because NVIDIA designs the GPUs. They have TSMC build the GPUs. And then they ship those GPUs to companies like Gigabyte, Asus, and MSI to actually make them. And as part of the GPU, normally they would offer up the RAM to go along with it, like the 8 to 16 gigabytes of VRAM that are used, of GDDR6 or whatever, or 7 or whatever is used right now. NVIDIA straight up decided and told its board partners, find your own RAM. We're not giving you any. AMD has said, okay, we're still going to give you RAM. We're charging you more for it now. So
and they're probably willing to pay.
An 8 gigabyte kit was going to be an extra $20. A 16 gigabyte kit was going to be an extra $40. And so by the time this gets to the consumer, that's probably an extra 30 to 50 US per card, depending on how much RAM it had. Which also really, really sucks. Samsung, one of the 3 companies in the world who makes RAM. You have Micron, you have Samsung, and you have SK Hynix. Samsung, the phone division of Samsung, was saying, we need RAM for our phones. The RAM division of Samsung was saying no.
To their own
RAM is so expensive that Samsung cannot buy RAM from Samsung.
Okay. I did not know about that piece. I did hear that Crucial has completely exited consumer RAM, period.
Yes. So that is the biggest thing that has happened this week. Crucial, which is the consumer arm of Micron, has said, no, we are no longer selling to computers. Crucial is just gone. Consumers, I should say. Which means that if you want RAM in the future, there is SK Hynix and there's Samsung, and that's basically it. Hopefully they stay selling to consumers. But Micron has just completely exited the consumer market, and that's bad for everybody. It is insane. Crucial was one of the better manufacturers that a consumer could go towards. For the RAM, for their SSDs, they were a very high quality product for usually not that much.
I liked their RAM, and I've had experience with some of their other components too, but damn, that was a really big blow.
Originally, I was thinking that this RAM issue, it might take 12 to 18 months to kind of iron itself out. I don't know when RAM is going to see normal again. It feels like as a computer enthusiast, as a big nerd, ever since the big C, we've just been getting kicked in the pants over and over, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I was just thinking about the same thing that happened, during that period where graphics cards went, 6 times more than they should have been?
Graphics cards exploded. And I would say that prices for graphics cards still haven't come down so much as they've just normalized.
Yeah, they sort of came down.
Back in 2015, 2016, a mid-range graphics card was $300 American, around $400 Canadian. NVIDIA was doing their regular price gouging, even back then. And before the real crypto explosion, I would say it was still around $350 US for a mid-range graphics card, around $550 or $450 for mid-range in Canadian. And that was expensive, but it was manageable. By the end of 2020, a mid-range graphics card was going for $700 to $800 Canadian. That is still around where they're hitting. Like a 5060 Ti with 16 gigabytes of VRAM. You are looking between 600 to 750 Canadian for that graphics card. So have they come down? Arguably, but it's more just normalized. That is the price that people are now willing to accept for those type of parts. 32 gigabytes of RAM currently costs more than a PlayStation 5.
Which really doesn't make a strong case for wanting that if all you needed is gaming.
Yeah. I'm really worried for Valve specifically with their Steam machine coming out. The Steam machine, the Steam frame, both of those are going to be RAM-heavy devices, and suddenly, the way that RAM is going, both of those devices, more so the Steam machine, is depending on having a really nice price to be a compelling device. With RAM the way it is, I don't know if they're going to be able to do that.
Well, I think every kind of device will run into this problem. Like, you think cell phones, you think smartphones have been bad the last couple of years, it's going to get worse.
They will. Like, how much RAM did the latest iPhone have? I don't even know. What is it, the
16?
iPhone 17?
Yeah, 16 gigs? Base, I think.
So let's see. The iPhone 17 comes out with 8 gigabytes of RAM, and the 17 Air, Pro, and Pro Max are equipped with 12. So you can expect those phones in the future, or realistically right now, it is probably costing Apple anywhere from $20 to $30 extra to manufacture those phones right now. So
That's
whenever
wild.
the iPhone 18 comes out, it's either going to have less RAM to keep costs down, or it's just going to have a higher price tag. These are already expensive phones, and they're just going to get more expensive.
I can't. Oh, man.
I don't know. It is a difficult holiday season for computer stuff.
Yeah.
Hopefully it gets better before it gets worse.
Yeah.
But for the price of a 32 gigabyte stick of RAM, you could brew a whole lot of mead.
I mean,
A whole lot of mead.
you're not wrong.
You could start from scratch.
I'm wondering what you're going to do for your next batch of mead, because you've been so thematic with it.
I don't know. I just watched a video last night about a French method of mead brewing, which is called a bochet. And apparently with a bochet, you cook some of your honey first. You caramelize some of the honey.
Oh, gosh. It's kind of like browning butter.
Kind of. Except no butter goes in mead. That would be weird.
Yeah, no, that'd be really rich, though, if you're caramelizing the butter, or the sugar first, basically.
Apparently it does completely change the character of the mead. I'm vaguely interested. I just don't know if I want to have a pot of honey simmering on my stove at 300 degrees for an hour.
That
or
seems
something
dangerous.
Like that. It seems dangerous. I would also have to buy a candy thermometer.
Yes,
and I don't know
would.
if I want to buy another thing.
I thought you could just use a meat thermometer unless it was specifically...
They don't go high enough.
Okay.
A meat thermometer, some of them will reach up to like 200 degrees.
Yeah.
But after that, the scale is just... A candy thermometer is its own thing.
Yeah,
it is just its own thing.
I have... I've done the, caramelizing of sugar before, where you just have, a cup of sugar and you have just enough water for that sugar, and then you basically just simmer it until all the water is gone. Because once the water is gone, things start caramelizing.
Yeah. Dio and I found out a neat trick about that. And by neat trick, I mean infuriating property of nonstick pans.
Oh?
It is incredibly difficult to caramelize sugar in a nonstick pan.
Why?
Because the nonstick pans create nucleation points that then crystallize the sugar. We thought we were going insane trying to make caramel, and we just couldn't do it. And then we bought a stainless steel saucepan, this little pot, instead of using the non-stick that we were using, and it worked first time immediately.
Yeah, well, there you go, I guess.
So
Chemistry.
if you're trying to caramelize things, don't use non-stick. Just understand that you will be cleaning the pan.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
So if it crystallized right away, could you just add more water to it to re-dissolve the sugar, or was it just a waste?
We tried that. Tried that, but no matter what, we almost got it to work once. Just almost once. Apparently the water, you don't even need that. You can just throw the sugar in the pan.
You can just throw it. Yeah, you can. If you want to be a little more dangerous, but they usually recommend water a little bit to begin with in case I think it's because it's more beginner friendly.
I think so.
What happens is that the boiling behavior changes once the water actually completely evaporates. So once the water evaporates, you can tell by the actual activity of the liquid, and that helps. It helps signal that, hey, you got to start paying attention like now.
Yeah.
As opposed to, you should be paying attention like all the time anyway if you have anything on heat. But apparently it's more beginner friendly. I'm not sure how true that is. But yeah, you don't need water. You can just have dry sugar just in a pot over heat. You just have to be really careful about stirring it and making sure it doesn't stick.
One thing I would like to try is something called a sizer, which is where you swap out some portion of the honey, usually about half or more, for maple syrup.
Yes. I was gonna mention, like, we should make something with that instead of honey and see how it goes.
Yeah.
Because I imagine it'd be amazing.
I kind of want to try that. That sounds absolutely delectable.
I want to be there for that.
Ooh.
I want to be there for that. That'd be amazing. So, Wait. Do we do a combination of both where we have the maple syrup and we toast it a little bit?
I don't know. I'm not sure. The maple syrup has already been reduced 40 times. Do we really want to go that much higher?
Well, it's not about reducing at that point now. It's just about toasting it.
Yeah.
I don't know.
It could be done.
It could be
done.
But I get the impression that it would be very difficult to do well.
Yeah. I don't know. I could go either way. I could try cooking the honey. I could try maple syrup. I could try cooking maple syrup and seeing what happens.
Well, I guess
either
we'll see.
Way, those are things worth trying. And I think it's worth trying listening again next week to the Otafest podcast.
Take care.
That's all we have today. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.